He turned me on to that low quad stuff. To use that?
Yeah.
Oh, the Chinese,
Chinese
juice.
low quad
Yeah.
juice.
Red juice.
Yeah, and it coats your vocal cords and protects your throat when you're screaming and doing a lot of this stuff. It really helps a lot. And Fred, that's all he does is just these big monster characters all the time. So I'm surprised he doesn't have nodes the size of baseballs, to tell you the truth. You know.
Yep.
Fred and I, for a long time, that's all I did too.
Yeah, you
Fred
got
and
that.
our running joke was who ate who in the previous session. We were never in the same room at the same time. But when we did see each other, we'd call each other and said, "So I ate your character today," and you'd go, "Well, I didn't do it."
Yeah, was there a session for you where it's like what were some sessions where you had to say, guys, we gotta pick this up another time, I'm out?
Wolverine. A lot
Oh,
of
Wolverine.
sessions, yeah. I limit my sessions now to 2 hours, just because
Yeah,
I've been doing this for 20 years. It really takes a toll, and I have to be done. And I've stopped sessions. Some of the Call of Duty sessions.
Oh, they're the worst, aren't they?
Oh, you know what?
I
meant to mention, go ahead, sorry.
No, you remind me of this. I don't know if I talked about this in the other panel, but I did a spec op thing one time, and when you do Call of Duty or spec op, it's basically you're just screaming your ass off for hours. And I was supposed to just do 4 hours, and the guy kept me there for 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I was screaming and screaming and really just yelling, because there's the machine guns and the tanks and all that stuff, and you have to yell over that all the time. So at the end of the session, the guy says, I saved the best 10 lines for the end of the session. I said, what was the best 10 lines? He goes, you're being burned alive by a flamethrower, and we need 10 of those 30 seconds long. Go. So I just totally blew my. But I'm sorry if you've heard this story. I've told this story before, but I totally blew my voice out, and I had to do Legend of Korra in the afternoon. I had like no voice, and I sounded like this. I was like totally shot. So I went in there, and I was supposed to do a couple of pickups, not for my main character, Chief Tora-Con, for another guy who was on the docks, who was like a mafia guy on the docks. And I told Andrea, I said, I have no voice, I can't match it. We needed like 2 lines. I said, let me go back and redo the whole thing in this voice. Because I sounded like this, and the guy was on the docks, and it worked perfectly for that character, it was like perfect. So she goes, no, I don't want to ask you to do that. I said, no, let me do it, let's just try it. And so she let me do it, and it sounded amazing when we got done, because he just had this weird, funny voice that like worked perfectly for that character.
That's improv, ladies.
Yeah, so that happens sometimes. That's a good side of that, but usually you just lose your voice and you suck. So.
Well, I forgot to tell you, I don't know if I've told you this before, but there's this one game mode that I love, and I didn't know that you were part of it until later afterwards, and I love the little treat that I could hear you on this, is the zombie mode on Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Dude, that's the only mode I play on those Call of Duty games.
Oh, really?
Is that mode, and I got to work with Kevin.
Yeah.
On those, because not on those, but we worked on Halo together. And so when I was telling him, he goes, what video games do you play? And I was like, oh, I love Call of Duty, specifically just zombie mode. He goes, oh, I directed all those. I was like, what? You directed all those? F! And so then I was telling him, like, we were talking about him working with Malkovich and, Shane from Walking Dead and all those guys. And like, I was asking him, and also he worked with Paxton, not Bill Paxton, Bill, the brother, the Game Over man from Aliens. Is it Bill Paxton?
Coleman.
You know what I'm talking about?
Coleman.
Yeah, but it was interesting to hear from people from the on-camera world on that level, those guys, because I was like, well, what's it like working with Malkovich? I mean, do these guys, because, I know with Richard, he's totally right. He'll go in and just do whatever you need for as long as you need, and Blum's that way, and these guys are very giving behind the mic, but a lot of times with on-camera guys, it's a mixed bag. You don't know what you're going to get. And oftentimes, more often than not, it leans towards this is going to be a tough session.
They're assholes.
And so,
I said that. That's terrible.
Yeah. And so, like, when he was working on the Call of Duty Zombies mode with Malkovich and stuff, I go, was he really weird to work with or hard to work with? He goes, no, he wanted to try all these weird, interesting things, and he recorded from France, and he wouldn't come over. Like, isn't that the place to be where you're like an actor, you're like, yeah, I'll work on that $1 billion franchise, but I'm not coming to you.
Yeah.
You gotta come to me. Like, that's so wild to me. And then when he worked with Bill Paxton, can you imagine, Bill Paxton's been in the film industry for, 30, 40 years, but he said he's the one with the least self-esteem. He was the one that was like, oh, this sucks, it doesn't sound good at all. And he was like, no, you sound good. Like, don't run away, don't leave. But yeah, we run into that, especially when we worked in Legend and Korra. I know that we worked with a lot of on-camera guys, and a lot of times it was interesting to see their dynamic behind the mic. I felt like, did you find that to be the case, or what?
That was great. Steve was amazing in that. You did such a great job on that show. Really, really great. But yeah, give him a hand. It was great. To me, that show was so much fun because we don't get a lot of, at least I don't get a lot of opportunity to do what I call like a radio play, where you have all the actors in the room and you're able to act off of other actors, because usually we go in one at a time and record our stuff. So that particular show was really fun to work on it like that, and there were some amazing actors in there. Steve Root, who was terrific. He was wonderful, and Lance Hendrickson, and Mindy Sterling, and Dave Faustino, and Janet Varney, and J.K. Simmons, who won an Oscar for Whiplash, was in there. And, so it was really fun to work with all those guys.
And all of them were super generous.
Yeah, they were great.
Amazing.
Really wonderful. Yeah, there was nobody who was like a prima donna or anything. It was great. Yeah.
I'm glad that was your experience. No, I'm kidding. It was very good. Like they're all so nice because they're sitting out in the green room and you're kind of like, we watch a lot of these people on shows and stuff. I was talking about yesterday how we're fans of people we work with and vice versa. So there's always that moment where you're sitting in the green room and you're like, I want to go over and say hi to Jake. I'm scared. Like, but they're really like, once you start talking to them, like, hey man, what's up?
He's a little intimidating, actually. He really is. He's kind of like the way he is on screen, which is a little scary. But I have to say this is kind of funny because I was sitting there. We were doing a session one time, and they had all the guys there, and we're reading, and I'm like geeking out on all these guys in the room. I'm going, oh wow, all these cool actors and everything. And all of a sudden, they stop the session, and the producers come on the talkback, and they go, Richard. I said, yeah. Go, you were Baton, Ghost in the Shell, weren't you? I said, yeah. They go, we love that show. They're geeking out on me. I'm geeking out on them. It was so bizarre.
Oh, that's wild. Yeah, I was at a...
I feel like Steve needs a microphone.
I know, I wish there was another one. I know, there's not... Sure. You take that one.
I have nothing to say.
Oh, damn it.
I mean, how many times have you gone into a session and people are like, Wolverine, hi. Like,
No, and Legend of Korra was one of those examples where the guys Mike and Brian, the creators of the show, I think they're geniuses. And Avatar, the whole series preceding Korra, was so brilliant. And these guys, at the end of our first session, were saying, dude, we loved you in Cowboy Bebop. And I was going, what?
Yeah, they're
who I am?
huge anime fans.
Yeah,
It was amazing.
it's really off-putting for me.
well, it's because those people that watch those shows are now in those positions where they're making those creative decisions.
Yeah.
And they grew up watching.
Who knew? Who knew? We weren't expecting that, I don't think.
Well, it's nice. I mean, it's nice to be, known for something, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Better than, hey,
Other
you're the
than
guy
what
that
I
parked
used
my
to
car last week.
You're the guy we're not supposed to accept checks from.
You're the guy who pooped on my lawn when I... Oh, no.
Yeah,
So,
that's something. It's called a
just me?
tradition.
Oh.
Okay, you need to let me do that. Besides, you're asleep when I do it. Why does it bother you?
He spelled his name, though, so that was pretty
That
nice.
took a lot
The
of
last name,
Thanksgiving
too,
dinner.
which is really amazing. There's like,
Everything up.
Okay, we're gonna get someone from the audience. Who wants to give it a shot? I saw your hand right here. Okay, standing up. Okay.
Should you get me?
Yeah. Okay, so what's your name?
You're brave.
Allison.
Allison? Okay, so I see you've got a little bit of Richard Epcar action on there. It's pretty cool.
Lucky. That means he owns you now.
That's why he brought a big suitcase. Cause...
We'll talk about this later.
Okay, so here's what I need you to do. So just hang out right there. And Steve, pick a number.
I can't see. How about 14? No.
Go, you can go on, look how many there are.
Oh my God, I'm having flashbacks.
212?
221.
221, okay, let's see.
Any Dramamine?
Holy smokes.
Well, a lot of this is hurting Wow. We only have 10 minutes left.
221. So here's what you have to do. You're gonna, okay, 226, okay. You have to do 226 in your best Steve Blum voice.
Huh?